The Goodyear 400 race in Darlington had a very entertaining battle for the lead towards the end. However, Kyle Busch was nowhere to be seen. Denny Hamlin highlighted this fact during his podcast after the race. The race in Darlington saw Brad Keselowski end his 3-year winless streak. It also saw Ford get their first race win of the season. While Ford and Brad were thrilled with the race results, it was yet another disappointing day for Kyle Busch and Richard Childress Racing. Here's what Denny Hamlin had to say about Busch's performance during his podcast. "Kyle was non-existent yesterday. Holy shit," Hamlin said. "He was bad. Bad all day." Busch qualified in 11th place. He was hoping to start competing for a top 5 finish at the least, but the race had something else in store for him. Throughout the race, Busch was struggling with grip. He consistently lost position to everyone. By the end of the race, he only managed to finish 27th. After the race, Busch explained his problems to the media. "We had a tough day today, but my crew chief, Randall Burnett, and all the guys on the Zone Chevrolet team never gave up. They made adjustment after adjustment all day long, but just weren't able to hit on a combination that worked. I just didn't have any grip anywhere for much of the race," Busch said after the race via John Newby of NBC Sports. "In the last stage, Randall made the call to short pit, and we gained track position, cycling up to 12th place. We made our last stop with 40 or so laps to go, but got zapped by a caution just a few laps later. We took the wave around and got back on the lead lap, but unfortunately, we couldn't make up that lost track position." Not just this race, but Busch has been struggling with performance throughout the season. We are currently at the half-point mark of the regular season, and Kyle Busch is yet to win a race. In fact, he's not even come close to winning a race this season. His best race result was a 4th-place finish in Dover a few weeks back. But even then, he was nowhere close to winning that race. Whether or not Busch is able to get a win this season, one thing is for sure. You must hit that subscribe button so we can keep you updated on the latest news surrounding NASCAR. We don't want you to miss out on the action. Before the Cup Series race in Darlington, Busch took part in the Truck Series race, hoping he would find a little bit of success there at least. However, he crashed on lap 2, which drastically damaged his truck. "The truck was wrecked," Busch said after the Truck Series race. "There's no reason it should have been back on the racetrack." Over the years, we've seen Busch put in some impressive performances. After all, he did win the Cup Series championship twice in his career. So why is the number 8 driver struggling to achieve results now? Before the Goodyear 400 race in Darlington, Busch was asked about the next-gen cars, which were introduced in 2022. "It definitely drives different than the old car, you know. What that is, I'm not exactly sure," Busch replied. "The old car didn't have that sensation. It was easy to just make a smooth corner and have the balance stay the same the whole time, where now I feel like I'm fighting many more balance issues. And on top of just fighting those balance issues by yourself, throw in the aero deficiencies that you have in traffic, and now you're just confused. You think you're going to expect it to do one thing, and it does something else, and you lose a 1/10 of a second." Ever since these next-gen cars came into play, Kyle Busch has been struggling to get good results. A few weeks back, after the race in Talladega, Busch took to social media platform X to complain about the cars. "Ride in line equals finish where you are. Try to race for win equals finish last. I hate these cars." During the race, Busch was part of a squad of cars trying to form a third line on the top to go for the win. However, in trying to do so, he was caught in an incident that sent him to the back of the grid. There's no doubt that these next-gen cars are facing issues with dirty air. These cars were designed to increase the amount of downforce generated, but in doing so, NASCAR has made the cars more aerodynamically sensitive. This means that they will be more vulnerable to dirty air during the race. In NASCAR, the cars travel very close together, especially towards the end of the race. This means that the cars who are further back on the grid will face more dirty air than the ones towards the front. As a result, the cars tend to vibrate more than usual, causing the drivers to lose control of the car. The balance of the car is completely thrown out the window when they're faced with dirty air. This is the problem Kyle Busch is facing with the Gen 7 cars. But there's one problem here. Kyle Busch is driving the Chevrolet car. In this new era of NASCAR, Chevrolet has proved itself to build a strong car. They're the manufacturers for many other teams, including Hendrick Motorsports. Put together, Chevrolet cars have won 7 out of the 13 races that have taken place so far. So we know there is no problem with the car. This means that Busch and his team is facing a lot of issues with the current setup of their car. One aspect that must be taken into consideration is that Busch is currently 39 years old. He has raced in the NASCAR Cup Series since the 2005 season. There's no doubt that he was extremely comfortable with the cars back then. His performance started to deteriorate only after this new era began in 2022. This can only mean one thing: his driving style is simply not working out with the next-gen cars. A couple of weeks back in Martinsville, Busch explained the issues he was facing with the car to the media. The problem starts at the front of the car. The splitter and the way the air is, and everything that we all do on setup stuff to make these things rely on the air as much as they do. That's a problem. I think they went about it, and that's a funny way to say it, backwards. We don't blow the tires off enough. I think that's what we're all kind of talking about. We need these things to be faster going into the corner, utilizing the brakes more, utilizing the tires more, having an opportunity to overdrive the cars more to burn the tires up, and see guys struggling more over a run. For me, anyway. Maybe it's just because we don't have it quite figured out like others do, but I cannot follow anybody in front of me whatsoever. It doesn't matter if I'm in the bottom lane, the middle lane, or the top lane. If there's a car in front of me, I'm terrible. Really bad. I will say the only positive to it is that you can slide the back of the car around a little bit more and not crash, but the front ends are just ungodly not working. When asked what he would suggest NASCAR do to fix the issue at hand, he said, "It doesn't matter because they're not going to do it, so it don't matter. I'm not going to paint myself in a bad spot to get in trouble." Since he believes that NASCAR will not do anything to fix this issue, he should start taking things into his own hands. Although he and his team are struggling with performance despite having the best manufacturer by their side, they need to make some serious changes to the setup of the car and Busch's driving style. His teammate Austin Dillon has been performing even worse than Busch. With only 13 races to go, Busch occupies the next-to-last playoff spot by scoring 324 points, which is 8 points above the cutoff. But his playoff spot will always be in danger as long as he does not win a race. It goes without saying that Busch and RCR will have to find some sort of solution to fix the problem at hand. If Busch is not able to win a race this season, this will be his first winless season in the NASCAR Cup Series. If Busch is not able to qualify for the playoffs this season, he could be at risk of losing his seat next season. There are several better and younger drivers who are comfortable with the next-gen cars available on the market. So RCR could choose to go for fresher talent, hoping that they'll be able to revive the team back to its winning ways. With 13 more races to go in the regular season, do you think Kyle Busch and RCR will be able to solve their issues and get that race win to qualify for the playoffs? If not, do you think he will remain in RCR for the next season? Post your thoughts in the comment section below.